So, right, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. I have my little list of what we're going to do. So we're going to come down and we're going to go into all fours position. So when I say all fours position, that's basically like this. So if you've got, even if you've just got your carpet, you should be fine. If you're on, you don't really want to be on a hard floor, but if you can put something under your knees, as long as you haven't got any knee problems. Do you like my Christmas tree, by the way? I love my Christmas tree. Well, I've got two. So you're in a fours position, and what we're going to do first, we're just going to do a bit of a stretch. And to do that, I think they call it in yoga the cat-cow stretch. So what you do first is, well, you don't have to, but you're going to push the bottom behind you. And that's just going to, can you see my back? It's looking like it's quite arched. And then you're going to pull up through the abdominals. So think about pulling from the navel up towards the spine. And you're going to round that back and drop the head. You're then going to push that bottom behind again and go back into that arched back position. You can lift the head, but don't lift it too much. And then you're going to just tuck under again, drop the head. And now you're going to come back and just find what I'd call like a comfortable position, but rather than being like this with your back all arched, just pull up through the navel slightly, and that's called our neutral position. And you see my back's quite flat. I could probably balance a nice glass of, gin and tonic for me, that would be, on my back. So I always think of it that way. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we're going to do a straight leg lift. So what you might do at this point, if you've ever done one of these before, you might stretch the leg out and just lift it up. Now, can you see like my whole body? If you just lift, the body goes forward and doesn't really work that way, and it puts pressure on your back. So what we're going to do is we're going to straighten the leg. We're going to squeeze the glute muscles. That's your booty, your bottom. You're going to squeeze to lift and lower. Now, can you see that my back is not doing anything? So I'm pulling up slightly through my abdominals. I'm lifting my tummy up towards my spine, just very slightly. And you're just doing that lift and lower without moving the rest of the body. Hips are stable. So this is the difference. Then you're going to stretch the other leg out. So let's try and just get that squeeze into your bottom first. Oh, my son's been cooking garlic bread, and I can really smell it. Making me hungry. Okay, so lifting up through the abdominals. Nothing else is really happening. We just want to work into those glute muscles. Then you can bend that knee and come back. So sometimes people do get problems with their wrists, so you can always come up and just give it a bit of a shake. And then you're going to come back. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bend, let the knee stay bent, lift it up. And again, the back's not doing, I'm not moving too much. I'm going to bring that knee in. So rather than coming up really sort of strongly, bring that knee in and then lift and bring it in and lift. So what we're thinking about, we always try to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, as if we're breathing through a straw. So I'm breathing in and out. Okay, so now you've made it that side, we're going to come over to the other side. So again, pull up through the abdominals first. I'll be really annoying because I'm going to keep going on about it. I still do after doing it for 6-7 years, because I have to, as a reminder. And you just squeeze in. So this is working your glute muscles and your abdominal muscles. So it's glutes, abs. Last one. Okay, and just come down and just do a quick stretch. And then what we're going to do, we're going to do some pulses, which actually really then work into the glute muscles. So this time, we're going to lift back onto the first leg. And we're going to lift it up. Again, try not to do this. Try to keep really balanced. It's really difficult when your hair's all in the way. Okay, so you're lifting up through the abs slightly. We're now going to just squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So it's just my bottom doing the work, pretty much. Abs doing the work a little bit. But I'm just trying to target that area. 3, 2, 1, all the way back. Good. How's it all going? Right, so let's try the other side. And we're going to squeeze 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and come back in. Brilliant. Okay, and just have a little stretch and come back up again. So now we're going to do, we've only got a short amount of time, but you can do quite a lot in 15 minutes. I don't even know what time I started. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some side work. So I'm going to show you some positioning. So when we do side work, we always come down and stretch the arm out. Now, some people don't have, have body shoulders. So you might have to bring your arm out in front and lay on something like a pillow. That's absolutely fine. So you're going to stretch out like this. You're going to stretch that top leg and you're just going to circle. So now you're in this position, let's just take your leg down a second because I forgot to say this. And what you're going to do is you're going to lift up. If you think about, put your hands under your waist. So I'm trying to lift waist off side. So your abdominals sort of tightening. And you want to hold that from the abdomen to help balance. Circling. Your gluteus medius muscle, which is this side one. And if you want to find it, you stick your fingers in, see if you can find it, and then change direction. We've just done this one in the class, actually. We did really small circles, and actually, if you've never done this before, small circles are a really good idea, so we can make it a bit smaller. It's a really hard exercise if you haven't done it before, or if you haven't done it for a long time. Bring that leg down, and that might be quite a lot, so you can give it a pat, and that will just help. Okay. What did I say? I think we're going to do a lift. Yeah, we're just going to do a lift. So in this position, you're just going to flex the foot. So that means lift the toes up, and you get a good stretch in your calf muscles, which are these muscles here. You're going to lift it and lower it. So what I like to do is breathe out, breathe in. So breathe out through the mouth, breathe in through the nose. Okay, last one. As I'm just giving you a bit of a taster, and then you're going to come up and we're going to take it over to the other side. We don't want to feel one-sided, do we? So let's stretch yourself out. So again, don't forget you're stretching right along. You're lifting up through the waist and abdominals, so you can feel that they're contracted. We're going to start first with a circle. The other thing to mention is that what happens with a lot of people, especially beginners, they stay kind of like move around their whole hips. And what we're trying to do is keep those hips stable. This hip is stacked onto that one. So when I work in classes, I normally have to go around people and I normally check their positioning. Now change direction, because quite often people are, because they're more comfortable, say, in that position, or they're more comfortable in that position. And I just have to remind them. That's the great thing about it being in class, that I do both, both online and in class. Okay, and just bring that leg down. If you need to pat your bottom, you can do. And then you're going to flex that foot, and you're just going to lift and lower it back down. So we've just got enough time to do a little bit of work in a second on our backs. And I'll explain what our neutral spine is positioning. So this will be your last one. I can feel that because I've already done it. And I went running yesterday as well. So coming up, so I use in class, because I obviously do quite a lot of classes, I use blocks just to help with positioning, especially like when you're laying on your back. And you might want to use a pillow or, you know, a little cushion. Thought I saw something came up. Oh, okay. So we're going to come down, and I'm just going to do a little bit on my back. This taster will be completed. So when we're on our backs, I call it crook position. The feet come together. They then come out to about hip width apart, and the knees do. So what often I see is knees coming in. So we're trying to keep the knees hip width apart. So you're relaxing. So also everybody's different with their back, where it's placed. So some people's back might be naturally sort of right into the mat. Mine's quite lifted. And what we always look for is something called neutral position. And that kind of means you're not forcing it down, you're not forcing it up with the rib cage lifted, you're just letting it kind of just act naturally. And that could be different for everybody. For me, I've got quite a bit of space. For you, it might be quite, you know, down into the mat. So it doesn't matter, as long as it's, you know, feeling a comfortable position and the hips are in a good position. They're not, you're not kind of, if you wanted to place that lovely gin and tonic on your tummy, it's not going to fall this way and it's not going to fall that way. So again, you've got that sort of nice position to put your gin and tonics on. You can tell that my favourite drink is gin, pink gin. So anyway, I digress. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to bring your arms up to the ceiling, chin slightly tucked as well. We don't want to be like, bring that tuck that chin in. And what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take my arms back. So normally I would say take a breath outwards. So what a lot of people do is they lift their rib cage like that, and then they would come back. But what we want to do is keep it in that same position. So you take the arms back, you keep that same position, don't let the rib cage lift. So to do that, can you feel your abdominals working? So we're keeping that rib cage in the same position, torso same. But to do that, you have to really breathe first. You've got to breathe into it. Plus, you've got to really contract between the hip bones, those abdominal muscles. And you feel the difference to what you might normally do. And this is what then will be starting to work your core area. So core area, the glutes, some of the main areas that Pilates works. Shoulders, neck, but core. Okay, so bring those arms back. So you should stay in that same position. Another thing I can show you is versions, but there's a lift where we bring a leg up into what's called tabletop. And then, because when I say tabletop, again, you could balance something on your shin. Then you're going to tap that foot down and lift it. Now, normally, if you were to tap that foot down, you lift your back up. And then you bring it back down again. What again, we're trying to stay in that neutral position. We're trying to tap and lift and tap. So to do that, you've got to really concentrate on keeping those abdominals engaged. And actually, sometimes I get people to actually imprint the back in slightly and keep that imprint, because that actually makes you work your abs even more. Let's try it on the other side. Up to tabletop. We're going to tap and lift. Now, all the time we're doing Pilates, it's quite difficult because you're doing quite a lot of concentration. And because you're concentrating on just Pilates, you actually forget about everything else. And the great thing about that, take that to the last one now, is that you have what I'd call me time. So a lot of people that come to the classes to say they just enjoy having the me time, and that does help you, you know, move into that rest and digest mode, to be quite honest, which is great. So it just takes your mind off daily life and just helps you you work hard, but you also feel you feel the body's lengthened and you feel quite stretched, but you also feel quite calm afterwards. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do one more exercise before we finish. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring one leg in. Now the back is imprinting into your mat. You're going to straighten the other leg, and we have two versions of this. We're going to change it over. So I'm going to breathe in and out, in and out. So you always want to think about your breathing, and I'd always remind you if you're doing any lessons with me. And we have, this is your entry level. What you can do is if you have a quite strong head and neck and you're happy to lift up, you can lift up, look slightly towards in between the knees, keep that position. And also I get a lot of neck problems, so if you want to support your neck, you can actually support it and still do the exercise. So I'll try without it for a bit. I can do it for a little bit. And what we're doing is we'll bring that knee in, squeeze. We're working into those outer abdominal muscles. And that's it, pretty much. Single leg stretch. Okay, so let's bring those knees into the chest, bring the head down. This just helps release the back off. Take the head from side to side. Bring feet down one at a time. And then you're just going to take the knees, this is the hip rolls, knees to one side, and then knees over to the other side. You can move the head if you want to. Bring the knees up. And then we come up to seated. So you can come up however you want to, whatever's comfortable for you. So at the end of my classes, I always sit in seated position. And obviously not everybody wants to sit like this, so you don't have to, you can sit like this. So it's entirely up to you. And I roll each shoulder usually and do something with the shoulders. Actually, you could even squeeze back just to encourage them back, especially when you've been working like this all day. And we do 2 breaths to finish, so we'll do that together. So let's take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And in again. And out. Brilliant. So thank you very much for joining me. Let me know in the comments if you're watching